this video because you're curious as to what a dopamine menu is. What is a dopamine menu? In my eyes, it's that list of things, or as the name says, a menu of things that make you happy and joyful, give you serotonin, give you dopamine, and overall just make you feel all those positive vibes. In this video, I'll show you how you can create your own dopamine menu and what steps you can take to cater based off of your dopamine menu. So if you're interested, then keep watching and feel inspired.
Why is it important to have a dopamine menu? This is such a random name to give a list of things, but I feel like this name makes sense. Basically, you're curating a list of things that are available to you to make you feel happy. A menu contains a list of options that are available to you, so when you make your dopamine menu, you're basically making a list of things that make you feel happy, a list of available things that you can choose from that you know will inevitably give you that feel-good hormone. It's definitely very important to have something like this, a list of things that make you feel happy. Dopamine menu is a different way to put that, and it's such a fun name to put to it. Having a dopamine menu is good because it reminds you to stay positive. This has especially helped me in times that happen very often to me, in times where I feel like I'm in a slump. I know this sounds a little cliche, but it's actually so true. Whenever I have felt in a slump or just unmotivated, I always just think of my dopamine menu and it instantly makes me feel better. I don't even have to do the action. I can just think of it and it already gives me that boost of energy and that boost of motivation. If we think of two things, motivation and dedication, they're very similar, but there's some differences. Motivation, it's more short term. You can stay motivated on a day-to-day basis. However, for dedication is more important when it's a long-term goal. If you're doing so many things each day to reach your passion, that's dedication right there. You need to have motivation first to be dedicated to something. That means we should always be striving for dedication. That means that you're staying consistent. Even if you feel motivated, if you don't have that dedication and that consistency, the motivation may only get you your short-term goals and may not help you in the long run. As I said, motivation is very crucial to dedication. Using your dopamine to your advantage will help you stay motivated, first of all, and then help you towards that consistency, that dedication, and that drive, so that you always have positive thinking and any negative thinking is hindered. The most dangerous thing is literally negative thinking. I can speak from experience. It still happens to me to this day, but I continuously go every day trying to hinder those negative thoughts. For me, when I feel negative emotions, any type of negative emotion, whether that be anger, sadness, comparison, definitely affects me more than I think it does. I lose focus on my goals, my passions, and tend to forget that I put a lot of work into it. I overthink about all of my worries, and overthinking is something I struggle with a lot. I tend to compare myself to others. These negative things really just hurt my motivation and my dedication and the desire to improve myself. So it's important to focus on the dopamine menu so that I can cater towards my passions and what I love doing. I'm drinking water because I'm severely dehydrated. If you're severely dehydrated, do not have hua che. Guys, I've been seeing so many videos where it's like,
POV, you're severely dehydrated at 3 a.m.
and then you have hua che. Drink your water, even though I love hua che. I just need to stay hydrated because obviously it's very hot right now. My sinuses are dry, so gotta stay hydrated right now. You guys are on my shelf, my cutely decorated shelf. It's more organized now. I feel like the last time you guys saw it, it was still kind of unorganized, so I just decided to move all of my clothes down in the drawers, put my pants right here. I have stuff up there, my makeup, those two crates that I used to have on my desk. I just wanted this clean, organized space, even for a few weeks before I head back to school. I just like having a cute space. Look, I brought back all of the childhood DVDs, Princess and the Pauper, Rapunzel, Strawberry Shortcake. This smells like strawberries inside. I also found this. Isn't it so cute? I'm so excited for my little shelf area. Doing this, decorating, putting all of this stuff together, that's something that gives me dopamine. I have to add that to my dopamine menu. How have I created my dopamine menu? It was a list of things that just make me feel happy, and I wanted to make this to remind me to stay happy, to stay positive, even in the times that feel rough, that feel stressful. Like, I just thought of this and I just felt happy even just thinking about it. The first thing I do is I change this list to be named dopamine menu. This is a new term that has come up recently. I think it's such a cute name to put it as, but it also makes sense. Currently changing the name of my little list to dopamine menu. It was named something different, things that make me feel good, but dopamine menu is such a fun name to put it. I basically made this list back in 2023. During that time, I think I was very stressed. I wanted to remember the things that made me feel not that way. I knew that me being stressed was just going to bring me down with everything that I do. So I really wanted to change my narrative. Of course, I added cute emojis. I added, you know, the pink ribbon, angel wings, the bubbles. So bubbly. So when I made this, I remember just sitting down and thinking hard about things that I do that genuinely in that moment when I do them, I am feeling no stress at all. Negative energy is way stronger than positive energy in my opinion. When you feel the negative energy, you're gonna only focus on that, and that's gonna tear you down. But when it comes to positive energy, it's harder to remember that when you're feeling it, to appreciate it. Like, you probably have noticed that when you feel sad or mad or just any type of negative emotion, you tend to focus on that. You tend to focus on the thing that's making you feel these negative emotions, and it affects everything else that you do in that day or in that week. So when you're happy and content and stress-free and you're doing something that you absolutely love, you probably won't realize in the moment how happy it makes you feel and how you're not feeling any stress at that moment. A lot of the times for me, I don't realize it in the moment and I realize it more after. So I kind of want to change that, kind of live in the moment and just remember that these things that I do on this dopamine menu, those are the things that really help me, that take away all of my stress. Making this list will remind you to take advantage of you being in that happy state. Practicing this appreciation will allow you to feel more gratitude, because ultimately we want to keep those positive thoughts and erase the negative energy. This menu should be endless. You shouldn't think that it's going to end at a certain point. You should always be open to adding to it, and you can add to it whenever you feel like you need to or you want to. I think that if you erase something from it, it's not bad. Maybe one thing that made you happy in a certain era, does it make you happy now? We all change over time. It's okay to have that happen. So of course, something like this should be catered towards you. If you simply just copy someone else's menu, it's not gonna be the same. That's for them. You need to focus on what makes you happy. So I recommend just taking at least 2-3 minutes to just sit down and think of this thoughtfully. It could be digital. I made mine digital, like on my notes app. Obviously, it's not gonna be easy to think of every little thing that makes you happy, but try to list as much as possible, and then when you remember, just add it. Also, I guarantee that you're going to be smiling as you make this list. When I'm making this list, I'm genuinely just remembering those times that I was doing that thing, and it's already making me happy. It's just such a big energy boost. It's just like, if you're at a 10% in energy, it will boost you up to an 80 and 90%. Writing it, thinking about it, and then especially doing it is obviously gonna make you feel like 100 times more dopamine. So some things that I have on my dopamine menu now that might help you feel inspired:
blasting music in the car, smiling, deep breaths and telling myself you got this, journaling, editing, watching self-care videos, face masks plus skincare, cafe/matcha solo date, planning and filming for YouTube videos, working out specifically, lighting candles, eating the perfect amount, taking my time in my routine, aka no rushing, finishing everything in my to-do list for that day, walking on campus alone with AirPods in, scrolling and pinning in Pinterest, having fun outings with close friends, especially one-on-one or small group, not checking my phone for a few hours and taking in the present and doing better things I could be doing with my time, finishing school assignments earlier on and not procrastinating, manifesting.
A very important thing is to remember the difference between healthy dopamine and unhealthy dopamine. You've probably heard of a social media detox or a dopamine detox. They're basically often put in the same context. The reason why they're put in the same context is because unhealthy dopamine is basically the equivalent to using social media in the wrong way. I would say that when it comes to social media and using it the wrong way, the biggest issue is comparison, at least for me. This is something that I've struggled with for a long time, and I definitely still struggle with it now. I'm every day trying to get better and not doing it. It's definitely very easy to compare yourself to other people. It takes just a second to tear you down. It's definitely so brutal to compare yourself. It's so detrimental to how you see yourself. The biggest problem also is that I tend to hyper focus on that specific person that I'm comparing myself to, and then forget about my own unique life and forget to focus on mine. It's just so dangerous because you're focusing on something else when you could be focusing on what should really matter in the end, what you're doing. The things in your dopamine menu have to align with a healthy dopamine. So think about what makes you happy that's also good for you and good for your mental / physical health and also your passion. For example, journaling and manifesting both help me get my thoughts out and also helps me think in a more positive aspect, which helps my mental health. Also, smiling, taking deep breaths, and telling myself I got this, it basically serves as a form of affirmation, words of affirmation, which is also good for my mental health. It also just helps me continue staying motivated and dedicated. Things like finishing everything on my to-do list for the day, that definitely motivates me to be more productive. It basically promotes productivity, which is especially important when you're trying to do things every day to reach your goals. Another thing is scrolling and pinning things in Pinterest, which helps for my inspiration. When you're feeling in a sort of slump, going somewhere to find inspiration is the best thing you can do. It's really important to constantly keep your mind creative and thinking of new ways to just express yourself. Being inspired is like the best way to do that. I have some pens here because we are going to be doing a little journaling session of making a physical version of the dopamine menu. Of course, it takes more to go and update the menu if it's on a physical piece of paper instead of it being digitally, but I definitely think that you get more out of writing something out instead of just typing it out. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to have both a physical version and a digital version of my dopamine menu. This is the journal that I've rolled with for a very long time. It's been a while. I just have a few stickers in the front. There's everything from like diaries to like notes on like self-help. It really has helped me mentally. We have some cute markers. The only thing I'm missing is my stickers. We'll add stickers later when I have my stickers. We have a purple, we have 2 pinks, and then we have a blue, and then I have a normal black pen. I'll probably add some stickers at the top. I'm gonna leave a little bit of blank room. After making the title, I'm going to just go ahead and list everything. Now that I've kind of created my physical dopamine menu, I've added everything I've had on it already. Now I'm going to be adding new stuff. As I mentioned before, a lot can change in such a little amount of time. You can always find more things that make you happy. What's nice is that when you add things, you're discovering more about yourself and more about your hobbies and your passions. It also might surprise you because things you might have thought were boring before can actually become stuff that you can do that are healthy dopamine that you enjoy.
So that's why it's always important to be trying new things and taking new opportunities, because they will give you an experience that will affect you in positive ways. You're basically opening yourself to new opportunities, which gives you higher chances to add more things to your dopamine menu, because obviously the longer the list, the better. We want an abundance of things that make us happy to remind us that there's so much to be excited for.
Also remember to try to be as specific as possible when you're listing things down in the menu. For example, if you were to put something like eating healthy, it's better to be more specific than that. For me, I put drinking chia seed water. You basically have to think more in the perspective where you're being specific about certain things. So what are some things that I will be adding to my menu?
Decluttering my room, plus bringing in a new design, rediscovering old songs, listening to throwbacks that bring me back to my childhood, finding old belongings and revisiting old videos from my childhood, drinking chia seed water / drinks, painting and being crafty, getting dressed up and cute to take photos, putting together cute outfits for festivals and concerts, remembering my potential, remembering that everyone has their own unique journey, sleeping early in a bed with fresh wash sheets. So we could think of the menu in this way, where you just have all of those options. But how about if we really want to get into the nitty-gritty and get super specific instead of surface level? Instead, we can regenerate this menu into categories.
If you're on TikTok, you probably have been seeing a lot of videos about dopamine menu, and it has like little categories where it's like appetizers, specials, entrees, desserts, and like even midnight snacks. They look very different to what I've explained to you guys so far. There's 2 ways that you can go about this menu, which is how I've been describing it and the one that you've probably been seeing on TikTok. I see the one with categories as a way to be more specific and give yourself a more direct path. Now I'm gonna kind of explain my little visual that I made. I have it side by side. I made the full-on list, and then I made kind of a categorized version where it's appetizers, specials, entrees, and dessert. This part kind of got smudged, but it's still super cute. I put all of the little categories here. I took stuff from my whole list and I kind of sectioned it out so it could kind of act as a daily routine. In the morning, I could pick from my appetizers. I did journaling, lighting candles, and scrolling through Pinterest. Or you could have even done like breakfast, lunch, dinner. So I could pick one thing or everything from this list, and then I'm just gonna go down as I go through my day to kind of create a routine. I still want to add stickers to my spreads, but my dopamine menu, like actual menu, is split into these specific things. Specials, remembering my potential, telling myself you got this. Entrees, cafe plus matcha solo day, getting dressed up cute for photos. Filming and editing for YouTube and watching self-care videos, and then for dessert, manifesting, blasting music / throwbacks, face masks, and skincare. So I could do like everything on each part of this list, or I could just pick from some of it. As you guys see, because I took like little parts from my dopamine menu, it's a way to be more direct instead of picking from a huge list. It's really nice to have like an endless list so that you have like so many things to go for. But if you want to be more focused on certain things at the moment, you can curate this to your liking. I think it's such a fun way to do it. If you guys want to be more in a routine and really set a schedule for yourself to do this stuff, then I think this is a perfect way to do that. It could even be like a creative way to make your daily routine or a to-do list. Once you have stuff on your dopamine menu, it becomes really powerful when you start incorporating those things into your routine. And of course, as I said earlier, even just thinking of this stuff on my dopamine menu makes me happy. But there's a reason why you put it on that menu. It's because you did that thing before and you know that it makes you happy, so what's stopping you from doing that thing again? So maybe the things on your dopamine menu are things that happen on occasion because you're super busy or you just have a lot on your plate. You feel like you have no time to do those things. You kind of want to change that and start doing things more often. What I like to say about self-care is that it's more important than we think it is. It's super important to take time out of your routine instead of thinking of it as a waste of time. I also want to think of the things in my menu in that way. So the first thing you have to do is remember back to when you did that thing. Try to think about whether or not you did it easily or if you had to force yourself to do it. If you force yourself to do that thing, you might want to rethink whether or not it should be in the menu. But it's often the case that you know it should be in the list, but you're just always busy and you feel like you would never have time to do that thing. So if that's the case, you should probably practice something like time management, which I've always struggled with. I'm doing things every day to try to make my time management better. I've definitely seen an improvement in my time management within the last few months, and I hope to continue getting better at it. Next, I want you to literally put that thing from the menu onto your schedule or into your calendar and basically make it its own event, and then it should be easy from there. You basically have to change the way you see it rather than keeping it as something that you do when you're in some sort of slump, because doing it consistently will support your happiness and you'll have an abundance of happiness without even realizing it. And again, if you feel it's too hard to better implement things in your life that are on the menu, then you may want to rethink that item and start focusing on the ones that truly matter to you and you know for sure bring you that happiness. That was it for the video. I hope it inspired you guys and helped you learn everything about the ultimate dopamine menu. If you haven't made yours yet, then this is your sign to start curating one before the year ends. See you in my next video.